Cross-compliance on the farm. To qualify for the single farm payment and disadvantaged area payments, farmers are subject to two types of checks under the department inspection regime. These are eligibility checks and cross-compliance checks. Eligibility checks verify the actual area of the land declared on the application, and it confirms that it matches the area actually farmed. The department will also check that the necessary deductions are made for issues such as farmyards and roadways and other areas that are not in production on the farm. These checks also look at other land area issues such as set-aside, permanent pasture, forestry, and the minimum 0.5 livestock units per hectare stocking rate for disadvantaged areas. 5% of farms, or about 6,700, have to be checked each year. 2/3 of the land area checks are carried out by remote sensing without the need for a farm visit by the department. Cross-compliance checks involve two major elements. Firstly, farmers have to meet 19 statutory management requirements such as animal identification and registration, nitrates and animal welfare. In addition, farmers have to maintain their land in good agricultural and environmental condition. Cross-compliance checks also apply to the REP schemes and to the area-based payments or disadvantaged areas, as well as the single farm payment scheme. In general, eligibility and cross-compliance checks should be carried out in one single farm visit. 1% of farms, or about 1,350, are subject to cross-compliance checks, but up to 5% of farms are subject to cattle ID and registration checks. This brings the total level of inspections to about 7,000 on an annual basis. IFA is working to have the level of farm inspections reduced down to 1% across the board through the greater use of technology by the department. In addition, IFA is working to secure 14 days advance notice for farm inspections. Currently, farmers receive up to 48 hours notice, but obviously this is inadequate. The main cross-compliance checks relate to animal identification and registration, and for this, farmers have to make sure that all of the animals on the farm are tagged and registered with the CMMS database. The herd register, such as this, must be up to date, and animals on the farm have to match that on the CMMS herd profile. All animal movements, births, deaths, and any other movements of animals on the farm must be notified to the CMMS. And of course, each animal on the farm has to have a cattle passport. For sheep, breeding animals and lambs that are on the farm at the end of the year must be tagged. The flock register and dispatch documents must be kept up to date as well. And farmers have to complete a flock count and a simple reconciliation at the end of the year. The other statutory management requirements of major concern to farmers is the nitrates. During a farm inspection, the department will check that there's no pollution and facilities on the farm are adequate to store manure in order to prevent any pollution. The department will also check that manures and fertilisers are spread correctly, prohibited spreading periods are observed, and grassland is not ploughed between the 16th of October and the 30th of November. The department will also check that clean water is being diverted to a clean water outfall, and of course the department will check that the maximum of 170 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare from livestock manure is not exceeded, or a maximum of 250 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare where a derogation applies. There are other statutory management requirements which cover groundwater, the conservation of wild birds and natural habitats like SPAs and SACs. There are also requirements on the use of sewage sludge, plant protection products, notifiable diseases, and animal welfare has been introduced for the first time in 2007. Farmers are obliged to maintain their land in good agricultural and environmental conditions. This is what's known as the GAEC. This involves issues such as avoiding severe poaching out in the land, overgrazing or soil erosion. With these checks, the department will look that there's no evidence of damage to the soil by overuse of machinery. They will also check that there's no damage to issues such as natural heritage areas or special areas that are protected on the land. And of course, noxious weeds such as ragwort must be controlled, and all external boundaries must be stock proof.